Right, okay, that's quite enough of that. Some of you, all of you, have been incredibly kind. You've accused me of being able to play the keyboard. The truth is I can't. I'm, all fingers and thumbs. I can make noises, and I can do things with buttons on it that, for example, we could change from pipe organ to trumpet. We go dink dink like that, enter. We can do those sorts of things, but truth is I'm not a keyboard player. I'm not a musician. Never really had what it takes to be a musician. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my grandmother, who could play the piano. If you go back far enough in my videos, and please only do this if you are trapped in a lift and the fire brigade have told you that it's going to be 3 days before they get you out. Don't do this. But if you do go back in my videos, you'll find a video of how my grandmother won the First World War. She had a little bit of help. My grandfather and his brothers, they joined in. The Kaiser didn't stand a chance, really. But my grandmother wanted to play the piano, and when she was a girl, money was tight, and my great-grandmother was tighter, and my great-grandmother wouldn't pay for my grandmother to have piano lessons, but one way or another she overcame that, and she learnt to play the piano. And when she got married after the war, after the First World War, she got a piano. There's various family stories about how it came from a shop and how it had to be delivered through a window into an upstairs flat. Now, after the First World War, my grandfather thought it would be a jolly good idea to take his new bride to see the places that he'd been in 1917, 1918. And they did a tour of the battlefields in Flanders and Belgium. And every hotel that they stopped in, my grandfather made my grandmother play the piano. So when I was a little lad, I grew up knowing somebody who could play the piano, and to me she was the best pianist in the world. I suspect if you went back and listened you'd say, well, actually she wasn't. It's just grandchildren think their grandmothers are the best at everything. She was the best cook in the world. She was the best person for putting plasters on small knees in the whole world. So naturally she was the best pianist in the world. And I used to love standing at her elbow as she would play in the style of old ladies, how they, I can't think what the proper word for that is, where they cross their hands and trill about, and it was absolutely wonderful. So in my formative youth I would dink away at the piano with one finger, badly. And it's one of those things I wanted to do, but I wanted to in the same way that I wanted to fly spaceships and I wanted to be John Wayne. I didn't want it in the sense of every Saturday morning getting up and doing a paper round to pay for music lessons. Never wanted it that badly. But now I've kindly been given this keyboard, which Dr. Bruce tells me might be 25 years old. Good old Dr. Bruce. He looked up a Yamaha PSR 18 and he's kindly told me a little bit about it. But now I've got the opportunity, I've got the time, I can torture this instrument, I can make funny noises with it, and I'm going to have some fun. But what has that got to do with anything? Well, in my life I've met an awful lot of people. I've met a lot of awful people, but I've met an awful lot of people who say, I couldn't possibly, I wouldn't be able to, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. And I think that that's a terrible mindset to be in. Just imagine if Chuck Yeager had said, oh no, I couldn't do that, or Buzz Aldrin, or Dr. Christian Barnard. Just imagine if Dr. Barnard had said, oh no, I couldn't do that, or Nelson Mandela. People always should be trying to do something that they can't do, something to improve themselves, something to expand themselves. And if it's as simple as banging away at a freebie electric organ, well, great. I show my videos of me doing things like this, not to say that I'm good, because I'm not. And I know you kindly say that I am, but I'm not. Let's be honest. But to say to people, well, you do it, you have a go, you try, you learn welding. You know, we've been watching George learning how to weld bicycles and such likes. We watch Ken happily chopping down cherry trees and sticking sharp sticks in them and growing new trees. Have a go. Never say, oh, I can't do that. Right, well, that was the Sunday night homily. I'm going to irritate the neighbours. If I change this back to... Is that right? That does. And if I crank the sound up a bit... Now I can annoy the neighbours properly.